Guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to be covering part 2 of the story I covered earlier, which I'm not going to go through a big recap because you all saw it, you know what's going on here. But let's just say this guy definitely, I'm sure, is making a lot of your blood boil, and it ended where the guy finally realized this girl that he was pining over made his whole world ain't going to work. And this guy who spent his whole life being taught about women and romance by rom-coms is now going to, flip the script, if you will, do a complete 180, and wait to see how things go at this point. And again, a lot of you guys that were frustrated with him, you're going to be seeing things differently quite quick. So he continues his story saying after he crashed in his bed and he was upset and crying, all that stuff, he says here, around 5 p.m., I was awakened by the CQ who informed me I had visitors. I found it was Angie and Alana who wanted to take me out to a festival. These are the same girls that are your so-called friends that know darn well that Maya's a big cheater. Oh, joy. I would be hanging out with them. They heard what happened and wanted to cheer me up. A few minutes later, I climbed into the back seat of Angie's car where I was joined by Lana. Why are you always hanging out with chicks? You should be hanging out with dudes. Hanging out with chicks is only good if you're banging them, or they're your female cousin or sister or something like that, but or coworkers. Other than that, I wouldn't waste time hanging out with girls unless you're banging them. I know a lot of people don't like me saying that, but that's just my experience. Lana immediately grabbed my hand. As Angie drove, she told me I needed to know the truth. Angie confessed that on their girls' night out, Maya met up with Angel at the club they attended. Remember, Angel is Maya's his now ex-girlfriend, guys, just to recap here. And Angel was her ex-boyfriend who cheated on her and dumped her. Okay, they were out on girls' night when she was dressed up looking hot and all that, met up with Angel. They disappeared for over an hour. Oh, what do you think they were doing? Maya returned with a grin on her face. She then exchanged a look with Jen and both burst out laughing. That was the first time of many times Maya cheated with Angel. Angie also told me that after Angel, they caught Maya making out with one of Angel's co-workers. At this point, what was left of my heart completely shattered. I'm sorry, man, but I knew the second you met her in your first story that she was a 304. I gotta watch what I say here. Absolutely. And yet you were willing to change that 304. Shower her with love. Show her such a nice guy you are that you can change her ways. Nope, she's chasing after the scumbags and lowlifes. And I'm still not going to get past it. These girls knew. These are your so-called friends, these girls here. And they know. And they have known all along what she's like and what she does. I won't be hanging out with them at all. That night, Lana expressed her desire to be with me, and we became a physical relationship. Say that again. So one of her friends here, you're now hooking up with one of her friends? Well, I got no problem with that. If a little payback on Maya. And it goes to show you right here when the girl has the nice guy, listens to all her problems, and all of a sudden now, okay, I'll have fun with him. But be careful. But you're banging her friend, so, already our guy's changing. Our get-togethers lasted several weeks. Lana did not want Maya finding out, so we kept it a secret. Around that time, I met Dino. He transferred in from the Ranger Battalion. He was considered to be a hothead who had problems following orders. His options were to transfer out of the Rangers or get booted from the military. We became fast friends and thus began training as well as partying together. There you go. You're starting to hang out with another dude, not with chicks. But I think this is quite funny. And already, you may not realize at the time, you were shedding your nice guy's skin. Because already, after you and Maya being over, now you're banging her friend. She was a low-hanging fruit that obviously liked you. But regardless, you were banging her friend. Good job. And now you're hanging out with a dude. And this guy may be, kind of the bad boy a-hole, but you can learn from him. He and I shared some similarities in personality. The way we interacted with women was not one of them. He was brash, confident, and had a carefree attitude. He behaved the complete opposite of what I was told females liked. Did you hear that? This seemed to make them want him more. The women competed for his approval and attention. His lineup was all 8s and 9s. All my life, I dated 5s, with Maya and Lana being the exception. I knew I had to learn from this man and made my mission to do so. Good. You need a wingman, and you need a guy who's successful with women and observe his behavior. You spend all this time learning about girls and dating and romance and relationships from the fucking movies, or taking the advice of girls, and where that gets you? Now start hanging out with a bad boy and watch and learn. Learn the ways of the Force. Once the blue pill color glasses came off, I realized Angie and Lana had deceived me. Lied and covered for their girl Maya. See? The only reason these hoes told me about Maya's infidelity was because Lana wanted to get with me. That's the only reason. And again, back to the old saying from the great and honorable Al Bundy, don't try to understand women. Women understand women. They hate each other. They're always competing with each other. They will stab each other in the back in a heartbeat if over a guy or something like that. I severed ties with them shortly after. A couple months later, we were joined by Tony and Adam, fresh out of boot camp and AIT. Wonderful. The hoes are gone. Good for you, bro. Now you got some bros to hang out. You got rid of the hoes for the bros. Tony would have been a collegiate wrestler if not for a bad shoulder injury his senior year. Adam came from a wealthy family. Adam's parents encouraged him to join the army so he could learn responsibility. His parents grew tired of bankrolling his lavish lifestyle. Well, that's his dumbass parents' fault for spoiling their kid. We formed our own crew and started weight training and partying. But most importantly, we had each other's back. Awesome. One day while playing cards and drinking, I told my bros the story of Maya and me. Let me guess. Your bros afterwards stood in a line and proceeded to take turns smacking the bejesus out of you. The guys listened attentively, and once I finished my story, they unloaded on me. We men need this from time to time. I was called a little bitch for allowing the level of disrespect that I endured. I was made aware of every red flag I missed or didn't act upon. They even pointed tactics used by the 304s to manipulate me. That night, I was enlightened by the knowledge my brothers hammered home. It's like reading a book and you think you understand it. Then the author breaks everything down for you to realize that you know very little. Metaphorically speaking, the red dye was cast in the blue ocean called my life. Everything I wrote believing seemed to be a lie. Hear that? This is why you hang out with guys, experienced guys. Generally, women aren't going to tell you what you need to hear because A, they don't understand it, B, they're self-serving, and C, C, took me a second here, guys. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. C, they don't want to hurt your feelings. When guys are going to be less concerned about your feelings so you can understand. Gentlemen, do you think I care about hurting anybody's feelings in this fucking channel when I go over these stories and smack them and tell them what's what? No. Now, I respect people for writing in their stories, but I got to be blunt. Otherwise, nobody's going to learn anything. Over the next year, me and my crew did our thing. By this time, I had my own lineup of 8s and 9s. Imagine that. I developed my own style, but in no way I was at Dino's level. I had done a complete 180. I finally found my confidence and self-esteem. I now knew my worth and value, and nobody controlled me. However, with the good came the bad. I became cold and distant. I only cared about my needs and no one else's. Hear that, guys? Well, I don't say that's bad. You're taking care of you. Because so far, up until when you were done with those girls, you've learned by taking care of everybody but you, where'd that get you? Now, there's a balance, gentlemen, and it's a tricky balance to have, where you are a good guy. You're not going around being a-holes to people intentionally and starting fights, or, but you take care of you. And you realize that may make it that you don't have a whole lot of friends, because a lot of people are going to try to take advantage of you, or you call people on their bull crap and stuff like that. You take care of you. And again, it's a delicate balance. You have the bad boy knowledge, but you're not a pushover. It's the right balance. And frankly, my friend, you needed to do a 180. You needed to do a complete 180 to shake off your nice guy ways, then find your balance. Unfortunately, I was surrounded by 8s and 9s on the outside, but complete 1s on the inside. That's usually how it works. And by the way, for you to have your lineup of 8s and 9s who are all in their early 20s, and to keep them coming back for more and not pulling bullshit on you, which they would do, You had to become cold. You had to become distant. You had to put yourself first and them dead last. Otherwise, you would have gotten what you got with Maya and Angie and whatever their fucking names are, Lana or whatever. They were not girlfriend material. I developed trust issues which made me more distant and capable of having a relationship, even if I wanted one. I'd have trust issues too if I were you, given your experience. Dino's time with us came to an end. We celebrated with him at our favorite sports bar, and the next day we dropped him off at the airport. Our brother went home with a massive hangover. That's the military life of being transferred and deployed and all that. Several days later, I was returning from the gym. As I passed by the day room, I noticed a familiar face. She stood up and walked towards me. As she got closer, I gestured her to follow me. We went to my room and spent the next hour catching up on lost time. When we finished, I asked Lana why she was by herself in the day room. My man. She said, Angie is visiting her friend. CQ told me you were at the gym. I figured I'd wait for her there, hoping to bump into you. I told her, he's probably done with your girl by now and she'll be looking for you. Let's head downstairs. When she arrived, Angie was standing at the bottom of the stairs. I'm sure you guys all knew that Lana and Angie were going to come back in the picture, but our guy's different now. She just stared at me without saying a word. They immediately left, but before I could make it up the stairs, Angie came back and asked to speak to me. We walked into the day room and she immediately began scolding me. She said, Lana is nothing more than a toy to you. You play with it and then discard it. She really cares about you, but you don't. Last time I picked up the pieces you left behind. It took her a month to get over you. Boo freaking who. These girls knew that your ex-girlfriend Maya was cheating on you. They didn't tell you, and the only reason she told you was to get with you, nothing more. And you left her high and dry? Who the fuck cares? Because guess what? Yeah, she may have been crying, and this chick was maybe picking up the pieces, but you just banged Lana after not seeing her for a while. Our guy was born again, the Phoenix. Before Angie could continue, I interrupted her and said, first off, my mother lives in Florida, and that's the only person allowed to scold me. Good line. Second, Lana's a big girl who understands the dynamics of our relationship and knows her role in it. You know it the same way you knew your role with Curtis. She looked shocked, then called out, you asshole! What happened to you? And she stormed off. My man. I told you guys to stick around for part 2. Remember, guys, when women say you're an asshole or think you're an asshole, you're doing something right. Because guess who they're hooking up with? The assholes. Guess who they are screwing over? The nice guys. So a few days later, I was doing CQ duty again when I was visited by the ghost of Hoes Past. Maya asked for us to go talk outside. He says, gee, I wonder who must have gotten in her ear. Once outside, she turned and asked if I was dating Lana. I said no. She asked again. This time I told her the answer is not changing. She became annoyed and asked, are you sleeping with her? I calmly answered, I don't sleep with Lana. She leaves once we finish. At this point, my cockiness got the best of me, and I made the mistake of taking my eyes off Maya. The next thing I knew, bam, she slapped me across the face. Welcome to the club, guys. You know, when I was in martial arts, I got to interrupt because I got to say this. When I was in martial arts for 6 years, and that became my absolute purpose in life, absolutely loved it. 2 martial arts I was taking, had a gang of bros before they found out what I was doing on YouTube. They stopped being my bros, but putting that aside, it was a badge of honor the first time you got a bloody nose. When you're sparring, you know, the first time you got a bloody nose and splat, you know, that's a badge of honor. Some guys never came back after that. Other ones, you know, same thing as the first time a girl smacks you across the face. I've been smacked more than a few times in my life, gentlemen, and it's fucking funny as hell. So there you go, man. Your cherry was popped in that department. Next thing I knew, bam, she slapped me across the face. She exclaimed, I don't want you fucking my friends. I replied with, we're not together anymore. Everyone is fair game. And as I looked at Jen, bro, and Jen gave me a smile and got in her car. I turned and walked back into the barracks. Awesome, bro. This is the girl coming to you giving you shit for fucking her friends while she was repeatedly cheating on you. Isn't that rich? She's trying to tell you what's what. She cannot believe you've changed. And I'm willing to bet you, my friend, by you behaving in this manner, her attraction for you, whoosh, shot up big time. So the next 13 months flew by. Our crew added 2 new members, but none could replace Dino. Well, maybe you're now becoming the new Dino. I was 2 weeks away from leaving the military. One night, exiting the shower, I looked out the window and saw a familiar sports car in the parking lot. As I approached my room, CQ called out and told me I had visitors. I asked if one was a blonde and the other a brunette with big tits, and CQ nodded in agreement. I told them I would be down shortly. Isn't that amazing? They always come back. I then walked into my room, grabbed a beer out of my mini fridge, and took a swig. I burst out laughing, which caught my roommate's attention. He asked me what was so funny. I simply replied with, nothing, just a blast from the past. I said to myself, damn, Dino, you're right again. She came back. I slammed my beer, threw on a muscle shirt, and headed downstairs. So you're there walking down with your beer, and you're probably, I'm guessing, probably your white tank top, wife beater as they call them, shirt, walking down looking like a low life. I now stood at 5'11" and weighed 190 of muscle. That's a good size, dude. The simp who once adored Maya was long gone and buried. I was meeting her for the last time and was kind of curious as to the reason for the visit. We had nothing to say to each other, plus it had been over a year since I last saw her. Guess I could have some fun with this. When I arrived downstairs, I saw Maya staring at the message board. I had my name with the name of 3 females next to it. Remember, this is the 90s, so, cell phones are scarce, and people would take messages on the payphone, in dorms or barracks and right outside people's doors. Remember those days, guys? Jen noticed me first and walked over. She looked up at me and down. She then gave me an approving smile and hugged me tight. Maya stood there smiling. I greeted her, but did not make any physical contact. After a few minutes of small talk between the 3 of us, I told them I had to get ready. Shocker, they're back. A lot of you guys are thinking, threesome. As I turned to walk away, Maya asked sarcastically, leaving so soon? You must have a hot date with one of your girlfriends from the board. I simply replied, I don't have girlfriends. I learned from my mistakes. I turned and began walking up the stairs. Maya called out my name in a desperate tone. The sarcasm had vanished from her lips. I returned to her and simply stared at her. She asked me if we could go for a walk so we could talk. What the fuck for? I said no. Her voice cracked a bit as she said, I miss you. I didn't realize how much till the time passed and you got closer to leaving. I wish I would have stopped you from leaving the day you gave me the letter. I thought I had plenty of time. At this point, her eyes were full of tears. Oh, the letter. It had been almost 2 years since I thought of that letter. That letter. But if it took all that to get where you are, then so be it. And of course she's crying. Hobag Handbook Chapter 2. Unfortunately, this memory did not have the effect Maya envisioned. It brought back a plethora of memories, all bad. I remember having my heart ripped out and stomped. I remember being punished for nothing more than being a good guy who loved his girl. No, not my girl. She was always Angel's girl. Angels and Julio and Tyrone and Chad and anybody else we can throw on the list. I just stared at her with the same blank expression she gave me the day of the letter. I waited a few seconds for responding. At this time, Maya had tears rolling down her cheeks. Oh, for God's sakes. And the Oscar goes to Best Actress to Maya. She was waiting for a response, and I gave her one. I said, all I ever asked was for loyalty. Your best friends told me everything you did to me. She looked down at the floor as she was now sobbing. Boo-hoo, bitch. She gave me a memory, so I wanted to leave her with one to remember me by. I then said, one day you might get to see the life we could have had together, but it will belong to someone else. And to twist the knife, I pointed to a spot in the room. Smiled at her and said, it was over there. The first time I laid eyes on you, and with that I left up the stairs. Man, I couldn't tell you where I was the first time we met. But 304's love drama, but 304's love drama, so I gave her some. Bro, that's awesome. Good for you. You deserve that. You earned that. Remember, this is a long time ago, guys, but he's never forgetting this shit. On my last day at the barracks, I saw that Maya had left 2 messages to call her. I never did. No point. I wasn't going to give her closure. That's not who I was anymore. I flew home. The trip lasted 10 hours, including layovers, and I had plenty of time to reminisce about my 4 years. About the friends and enemies I made, I thought of Maya and the lessons I learned. After returning home, I realized that I was a relationship guy. The player life was not for me anymore, so I buried that persona too. So, I told you guys the complete 180. Now, the trick is finding balance. This guy is obviously not a player, douchebag, bad boy, asshole. But this guy is a good guy. He's a relationship guy, but now he's learned. A lot of times, young men go off to the military to become a man to see the world. Well, this guy became a man and saw the world in reality. Now he finds his balance. Fast forward in time, today I'm in my 50s. I've been a first responder for over 20 years. I've been married for 30 years to a wonderful woman who understands loyalty. We have 2 sons, both in their 20s. Our boys know their value and their worth. They'll never sacrifice their morals or principles for anyone. Bro, congratulations. Congratulations on finding yourself a good woman. And I'm sure you wouldn't have had her if you hadn't gone through all this, the heartache, the hardship, and learned the hard way, and then find your balance. And congratulations on your sons. As for my bros, unfortunately we grew apart and eventually lost contact. These were the days before social media. The only way to communicate long distance was via mail or phone call. Long distance calls were costly, and the last I heard, Tony re-enlisted and was stationed in Germany. Adam finished his service and moved to Canada, his parents' home country, where he started a small business. Guess he had finally learned responsibility after all. And Dino dropped off the grid a couple of years after leaving the military. As for the host skeeters, don't know and don't really care what happened to them. Flip a coin. Either they found some nice guy sucker to marry and take advantage of, or they're now in their 50s, covered in tattoos, strong independent women that weigh 297 pounds. I don't have social media, but my wife does. Her account can be viewed without being a friend or follower. It has pictures of our family over the years. There's pictures of vacations, birthdays, and special events. A few years back, my wife received a friend request from a private account. Who could this be? She didn't recognize the profile picture and asked if I knew this person. The picture looked grainy and difficult to make out features. The account belonged to a person whose name was the nickname I had given Maya when we first got together, but with a different last name. Your freaking ex, Maya, is trying to friend your wife's account because she saw pictures of you. The person looked worn out and rough. It was hard to tell the age because people based on their life they've lived. I didn't keep any pictures of Maya from our time together, so I was going off memory from 30 years back. From a girl I last saw in her prime, 18 years old, the first time, and 22 the last time. Could it have been Maya? Maybe, possibly. I'll never know for sure. My wife never accepted the request. As I sat at work, the memory flooded back. I told myself, if this was you, Maya, I guess what you said came to fruition. You got to see the life you could have had, but now it belonged to someone better. Probably was her, but she in no way, shape, or form looks like she did. To anyone that hears my story, no matter how long and alone you may feel after being betrayed, take a deep breath, pick yourself up, and keep moving forward. Exercise and get active. It really does help. Thank you again for posting my story. To all my brothers out there, if you hear this story, you'll know it's me. I pray you're all doing well. Maybe one day we'll reunite to catch up over a cup of coffee. Because, we're too damn old to drink like we used to. To Maya, I don't forgive you. That, gentlemen, is the end of this tale. And I told you guys in the first story, for those of you stuck around, it was worth hearing part 2. So our guy here has the last laugh. And again, the old joke, men age like Sean Connery and women age like Sean Connery. He can't even he thinks it might be her that was trying to friend his wife just to see him, but who knows? But anyhow, guys, great story here. So our guy found his balance. It's like the fucking Karate Kid, Miyagi, talking about balance all the time. I was just watching Cobra Kai, season 6. It just came out, the 5 episodes there. I know you guys watched Cobra Kai. I mean, the first season, fucking great. Second season, really good. As it's gone on, it's become this ridiculous karate soap opera Telemundo thing, but I'm going to watch it to the end. But anyhow, Miyagi was all about balance, and you got to have balance in life. And this guy found his inner bad boy asshole, did that for a while, had some fun, and then used that knowledge to mix it in with him being a relationship guy, took that knowledge, and look, this is where he is. And that's where I want you guys to be. So anyway, bro, great story here. I'm glad you had the last laugh. I'm sorry you suffered like you did, but many of us suffered just the same way, and we learned it came out okay. But hopefully, another crowd can learn from our mistakes and not have to suffer like we did. But who knows? Alright guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.